What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Brawl Project, and welcome to a standalone deck tech. Today we're looking at a historic version of the Jeskai Fires deck that I made a deck tech of and did some gameplay of earlier in the week. This is a historic upgrade to the deck, so I'm calling it basically Historic Fires. Again, the main players, Kaikar Wind's Fury as the commander, a flyer in the Jeskai colors that creates spirit tokens for each non-creature spell you play. You've got Fires of Invention that lets you play spells for free as long as you have the correct number of lands to play them otherwise, and you can't play on the opponent's turns, and you are limited to 2 spells a turn. So this deck is very proactive, much like the other deck. You have a lot of cards that play well on your turn and don't really do much on the opponent's turn. There aren't very many instances here, but that's fine. You can build a defensive deck with Kaikar's Wind's Fury or a reactive deck, but that's just not what we're doing here. We are here to play Cavaliers for free, then activate Cavalier Flame and attack for a lot. So we've got the 3 Cavaliers in this deck that, very powerful 5-drops to follow it up. We've got other very powerful Planeswalkers that we can activate each turn, like Tezzeret, Teferi. Both of these 2 draw cards. Karn also draws cards. Chandra does a good job of acting as some crowd control. Ugin can snipe most permanents. And of course, Teferi from the last deck list. And Saheeli is a nice one because the effect is very similar to Kaikar's. You create tokens whenever you cast non-creature spells. A few notable upgrades for this deck. First, we have Inbolsa's Clutches, which is basically Agent of Treachery. It just costs 1 less. It has the same effect of stealing a permanent. It's excellent. You have Karn's Temporal Sundering. This is a big one, especially if you have Fires of Invention out. If you can play Kaikar, then you can play Karn's Temporal Sundering. Oh boy, you get an extra 2 free spells on the next turn. Hopefully one of them is Cavalier of Gales, and you'll be doing a ton of damage in no time at all. And another huge one is Search for Azcanta. This card is unreasonably good, I would say. I think that if you're making a blue historic brawl deck, you definitely want to include Search for Azcanta. This one and Legion's Landing do a nice job of also becoming lands with activated abilities, which play very well for Fires of Invention. When you have Fires out, you don't need to tap your lands to cast your spells, so they are free to do other things such as search for more spells to play, or create 1/1s if that's really what you're going for. This isn't the most spectacular effect, but I think it's pretty reasonable to get 3 tokens with this deck and be able to attack with them as Kaikar makes flying tokens. So I think that it's pretty easy to flip the Legion's Landing, and yeah, we need all the lands we can get for this really high mana curve. Much like the other deck, we're playing 29 lands. I know that sounds like a really high count, but in Brawl and Commander formats, I really like having that high land count. It lets you curve out and not fall behind tempo-wise, and I just think that's really important. So, since a lot of our spells are very expensive, look at this mana curve. This is not what you usually want for a mana curve, a huge spike at 3. We're going to need some ways of resetting the game before we start casting our big action. We've got Flame Sweep, Deafening Clarion, Cleansing Nova, and Realm Cloak Giant. Really cast off the adventure off of this card as ways of resetting the board before we get our action going with all of the cards that I had mentioned earlier. One thing I should note is Divine Visitation. This is probably my favorite card in the deck. You have a lot of ways of generating tokens, and when those tokens are angels, instead of the 1/1s that you get from Kaikar, or from Adanto the First Fort, or from Castle Ardenvale, you are doing some serious damage. Oh, and sorry, I should mention Saheeli too. Getting free angels, that's pretty good. Okay, I shouldn't say free. You did have to invest 5 mana in the Divine Visitation. Anyway, that's the deck. It plays very similarly to the other version of Jeskai Fire, or of basically Jeskai Fires that I featured earlier in this week, where it's a bit clunky. to get off the ground, but once you get going, especially if you have Fires of Invention, you can do some wicked stuff. Anyway, I hope you enjoy playing with this deck. If you are looking for people to play Historic Brawl with, I would recommend arenabrawl.net. I'll definitely link to that in the description. You can usually find an opponent to battle with, whether it be normal, standard, or historic brawl, on days that the matchmaker doesn't give you that option in arena. So I definitely recommend checking that out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this deck tech. If you want more Brawl action, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also, I do stream Brawl on Arena. I most of the time play viewers Mondays through Thursdays at noon Pacific. So follow my Twitch if you want to hang out and battle some Brawl. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.